Welcome to another edition of Valor Life, and we're just sitting here because we're going to have a conversation with a man, Reggie Hickman, I think you'll really enjoy, because he's a man who tells us that life is full of choices, good choices, bad choices. A lot of it is how we grow up, a lot of it is the things that happen to our life, and then from that, you become a mentor because you've got something to tell them. Here's Reggie's story. So you grew up in Nashville?
Grew up here in Nashville.
Stratford High School.
Stratford High School.
Uh-oh.
Alma mater, yes.
Tell me about growing up. Mom and dad, family relationship, what was that like?
Well, I had my mom there, and it was 4 boys, and we grew up there. North Nashville is the area I grew up in. So
4 boys, where were you in the lineup?
I was the second from the oldest. But this was back in the time where, you know, times were a lot easier, even though we were going through some struggles with the civil rights issues back in the early 60s. But you know, there was a structure within our neighborhood of good, strong men in the home and friends that I had who fathers were in the home, and they took me in and, you know, provided some stability and some guidance. And so grew up in a really good neighborhood. So we had a good support in that neighborhood, and I was really blessed to have that, you know. Had a personal tragedy that happened along the way as well. I lost my younger brother who was up under me. He was killed. And so that you know, put me in a bad place. And
An accident of some sort?
No, it was a murder.
Oh,
it was
my
murder.
goodness.
It was murder, and that put me in a bad place right after high school. This was 1975, like 6 months before I graduated from high school. And so that put me in a bad place. Emotionally, you know, and spiritually in some ways, you know. And so, and I see I was going in the direction, because I didn't have any prospect for college or any or really full-time work after high school. I just knew I had to make a change, and I immediately signed up to go into the Navy. This was in October. Did 4 years, got out, met my wife, got married, and then went back in, but I did the reserve component.
Tell me about, I'm sure there had to be anger.
Yeah, it was a lot of anger, a lot of animosity toward the individual, and I was seeing that anger was taking me in the direction of retaliation and revenge, and so.
What did you want to do? If you could have, you might have tried to do him in.
Yeah, and that's the direction I was going, you know. To do him in, you know. I knew that wouldn't bring my brother back. I knew that would bring more heartache and disappointment on my family, on his family, you know. And it was just a lot of things going on that year in my life, and I knew a change had to come, and I couldn't stay in Nashville.
Were you raised in the church? Was faith a part of your life growing up? Because I'm saying to myself, the only way you can make a choice to back off, because it's the wrong thing to do, is if there's something inside of you.
Right. I was raised Catholic. I went to a Catholic school and went through all the training of Catholicism and all. So I had a foundation of the church and God in my life, you know, even though I didn't quite live it the way I should have lived my life in a relationship with God. But I was instilled, those things were taught to me, you know, what was right and what was wrong, and I knew the difference, and so I was able to live my life as well as I could, you know.
How'd you decide to become a mentor?
Well, it was based on a mission conference that came to our church back in 2004, 2005. And they had a booth set up, and Men of Valor was one of the host ministry that you could get involved in, or mission. And so it was shortly, maybe 2 or 3 years after that, that I decided it was time for me to get involved, and I reached out and got in touch with Men of Valor, and Kevin was one of the guys at Men of Valor that I was corresponding with, and he was telling me what I needed to do and what it was all about. if I look back on it now, I could possibly see that God's hands was in the midst of that, knowing that He had a better plan than the plans I wanted to get myself involved in back when that tragedy happened. And so when He put me in places where I could succeed in the Navy, and then when I got out and then get involved in Men of Valor, you know, those kind of things were opportunity for me to grow in my faith and to use the tools and the knowledge that I've gotten from discipleship training and listening and speaking the word and just being involved like that. It was great to see how God had brought me from where I was, you know, all those years ago.
How's your life changed because of this?
It's changed quite a bit, you know, knowing that I'm part of a organization, a ministry that is helping those whose life seemed like it was never going to get back right, and they have seemed like they have messed up to the point that, you know, how am I going to ever be a part of society again? Then it makes it that much worthwhile to keep coming back and to see the growth in this individual, and then letting the word that's has washed over me, wash over him as well, and change us from the inside out. So it's been, you know, I've been part of this ministry for over 12 years now, and I've seen the work that God has done in the lives of these men, you know, I mean, profoundly, you know, and I wouldn't want to do anything else but be a mentor or be a facilitator of classes and sit in classes, actually sit and study with these guys and worship with them, you know. It's just, and they see that and they know that, and they say, hey, this guy's all right, you know, he comes and spend time and he's worshiping with us, he's learning with us, and he's leading us in the word. And so it's just been great. And God wants us to make the right choices and not become part of the consequences that can lead to a bad outcome. So I just glad that God has allowed me to make the right choices, better choices to give back and to receive as well the goodness of being a mentor for such a outstanding ministry.
With that in mind, tells me that everything has to be takes time.
Take time.
All of this, you got to be willing to invest for a period of time,
Yes.
so that there's an honesty between you, and then you can change a man's life.
Yes.
Isn't it great? You just talk to Reggie, you just feel that spirit. If I'm across the table from him, I can feel the honesty and the integrity of it, and that's what we want. We want mentors who believe it inside of themselves and are willing to go in there and change men's lives. There's another edition of Valor Life.